Hello children, welcome to your online class of SST. Today we will discuss chapter 21st, United Nations. The world which we live in was born out of several devastating circumstances such as the World Wars and the Cold War. The industrialized nations wanted to gain more and more markets for their finished products. This led to a cutthroat competition among Britain, Germany, France, Italy, etc. This started a race for colonies. The European countries wanted the colonies for procuring cheap raw materials for their industries and as markets for selling their industrial goods. Gradually, these countries formed alliances for protecting their vested interests. Many wars were fought. The world witnessed extreme devastation during the First World War. Millions of people died in the First World War. The world had barely recovered from the First World War that another disaster in the form of Second World War took place. The loss of life was much greater than the First World War. Two prosperous cities of Japan, namely Hiroshima and Nagasaki, were completely destroyed by the atom bombs. The League of Nations was the first international organization formed in 1919 to restore world peace and prevent future wars. It was, however, a weak organization with no real powers. Hence, it was not able to stop the Second World War. Formation of the United Nations. The mass destruction of life and property after the Second World War led the world leaders to think about the ghastly effects of these wars. Hence, a stronger and powerful world organization was proposed by many countries of the world. This led to the formation of the United Nations Organization, UNO. On 24th October 1945, 51 countries signed the UN Charter, giving birth to the UNO in San Francisco, USA. Every year, 24th October is observed as the United Nations Day. India joined the UN on 30th October 1945. Today, 193 countries are a part of the UN. Objectives of the UN. पूरे संसार में शांति को बनाए रखना, आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ फ्रेंडली रिलेशंस को डेवलप करना, यूएन की सभी कंट्रीज आपस में मिलकर ये काम करती है, वो ये देखती हैं कि लोगों को पूरे वर्ल्ड में अच्छा जीवन मिले जीने के लिए, गरीबी को दूर किया जा सके, बीमारी और निरक्षरता को वर्ल्ड से हटाया जा सके, एनवायरमेंटल डिस्ट्रक्शन को रोका जाए और लोगों को एनकरेज किया जाए कि वो एक दूसरे के राइट्स और फ्रीडम की रिस्पेक्ट करें. To be a center for helping nations achieve these aims. Principal organs of the United Nations. The UN acts like a world parliament. It has representatives from all the member countries. Now we will discuss the main organs of the UN. The General Assembly. The General Assembly is the main organ of the UN. All the member countries have one vote each in the General Assembly. The UN usually works as per the decisions of the General Assembly. It has its headquarters in New York. The General Assembly adopts the yearly budget for the functioning of the UN. It discusses international problems, recommends peaceful settlements of disputes, oversees budgets, and collects various researches and reports of the UN. It also appoints non-permanent members to the Security Council. The first session of the General Assembly was held on 10th January 1946. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit became the first Indian as well as the first woman president of the General Assembly in 1953. The Security Council. The Security Council is the most powerful organ of the UN. It is responsible for peacekeeping and peace enforcement missions all around the world. It has 15 members, of which 5 members are permanent with veto powers, and the remaining 10 members are elected for a term of 2 years. The Secretariat. The Secretariat is responsible for carrying out the day-to-day business of the UN. This part of the UN is headed by the Secretary General, who is the most powerful official and spokesperson for the UN. The Secretary General is nominated by the Security Council and is appointed by the General Assembly for a term of 5 years. Antonio Guterres of Portugal is the present Secretary General. The International Court of Justice, ICJ. The International Court of Justice is the official judicial organ of the UN. Its main function is to settle disputes involving 2 or more countries. It also gives advice to the UN and its specialized agencies. The ICJ has 15 judges. They are elected by the UN General Assembly and the Security Council for 9 years. Economic and Social Council. The Economic and Social Council looks after the work of various agencies of the UN. It looks after issues such as human rights, health, women education, poverty, trade, etc. It has 54 members elected by the General Assembly for a term of 3 years. The Trusteeship Council. This Trusteeship Council was established in 1945 to help the colonized countries to become free. This organ is not active as the last colonized country, Palau, became independent in 1994. Special Agency of the United Nations. One of the main objectives of the UN is to promote world peace and to work for the betterment of the underdeveloped countries. The UN carries out its functions through some of its specialized agencies. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. This organization works towards spreading education in the poor countries and improving the life of people by providing them with technical assistance. It promotes international cooperation in the field of science to help nations develop. It works towards protecting the cultural heritage and cultural identities. It also plays a major role in preserving the natural environment. United Nations Children's Fund, Unicef. This agency works for the underprivileged children and provides them education. It works for the rights of the children and their holistic development. World Health Organization, WHO. This agency looks into improving the health of the people worldwide. It is a premier organization in research and studies in health and medicine. It runs awareness programs against epidemics. It trains health workers to fight diseases. Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. The main aim of this agency is to fight hunger all over the world. It works towards the improvement in food technology for better production and distribution of food grains. International Labour Organization, ILO. This agency works for the rights of the labor force. It also promotes better standards of working conditions to the working class. Achievements of the UN. The UN has been continuously striving to maintain international peace and has been successful to a great extent. Major wars between nations have been avoided due to the constant efforts of the UN peace talks. The world today is not prepared for another war. With all the modern technology and nuclear warfare available today, this world would not be able to cope up with the effects of the another world war. The UN has played an important role in preventing the use of nuclear weapons. India's contribution to the UN. India has a very old association with the UN. It has been among the founding members of the UN. India has always cooperated fully with the UN. India has sent her Peace Corps for UN peacekeeping missions. India has always extended its full support to the UN agencies like UNESCO, FAO, ILO, WHO, etc. India has been a staunch supporter of the use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. India's great contribution to the UN is the policy of non-alignment. During the Cold War, India urged countries to remain neutral or non-aligned to the two superpowers of the world, that is, the USA and USSR, now Russia. So children, thank you very much. This lesson has been completed. Bye bye.